Thank you for watching another episode of the Boat Geeks. If you are liking what you're finding here at our channel, please hit the thumbs up below.
And please like and subscribe so you don't miss a future episode.
Absolutely. And you can comment too. Feel free to comment.
Yeah, we love to hear what you think.
Thank you.
He had a restaurant down on Denny, and it was called Francisco's. And it was kind of like a Cheers moment. You know, they had a cop and an FBI agent and a postman, and, you know, they're sitting around, and the postman comes in and he goes, "Hey, I intercepted a letter to Santa." And they all said, "Let's open it."
Yep.
You know, this was back in the 70s when you could get away with opening federal mail. And he says, there was a letter from Craig, and it said, "Dear Santa, Mom said you weren't coming again this year. You don't have to bring me anything, but bring something for my sister because she's been good. But don't bring anything for my dad because he doesn't live here anymore." And
he drew a map.
yeah.
Wow.
And now here's these guys, you know, Marines, all these guys that,
right.
you know, jumping out of airplanes and flying airplanes, and they're all crying.
Yep.
And they say, "We got to find this guy."
Yeah.
And so that's how it all started. So fast forward to today, we have 400 volunteers. We deliver to 800 families and 3,000 children in King, Pierce, and Snohomish County. And it's all volunteer, and it's all donations.
And 65 sets of Santas and Elves go out on Christmas Eve.
That is,
I've got goosebumps.
so do I. I just went
Yeah.
right through my body.
Man.
From beautiful Port Townsend, Washington, a Victorian seaport on the Salish Sea, and recorded aboard the motor vessel Traveler, it's the Boat Geeks with Darren and Daeron.
We're the Boat Geeks, whatever floats your boat. We're the Boat Geeks.
Welcome to another episode of the Boat Geeks podcast. I am your host, Darren.
And I'm your other host, Darren.
And today we have two very special guests with us in the studio. We have Mr. Dan Wood, who is a yacht broker. We'll get into that. And a professional captain. Welcome, Dan Wood. And we have Brandy Torrisi. I pronounced that correctly?
Yes, you did.
And you have been the FCF chair, that is the Forgotten Children's Fund chair, for the last 10 years. And you are also a boater.
Yes. 200-ton captain.
All right. Ooh, listen. Now, you guys are going to be interesting. Welcome to the podcast, both of you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and happy almost weekend. It's Friday morning here in Port Ludlow. A little overcast, but we can see the, it's blocked by the tugboat, but the beautiful Olympic mountains are out there today.
They have a dusting now.
They do. They're snow-capped.
Beautiful.
Well, welcome to the area and welcome to the podcast. It's very good to have you here. This is a topic that I'm super excited about. This is these 4 months. I'm a fall person. I love the holidays, and I love this time of the year around here. It's beautiful, and there could not be a better cause. When Darren told me about this, I was immediately on board, and so I'm super excited to talk to you both about that. But first, let's find out why you are also boat geeks. I know you are because of all the talking that I've been listening to for the last half an hour. So Dan, what is your history and your background and your love of boating, sir?
Well, I started out on Lake Washington with a hydroplane with a 50-horse outboard on it that was so big that you had to be in it to put the motor on it. It wouldn't sit by itself. And I got a little feeling of speed there, and then I've never looked back.
Wow. So that is an interesting start. Typically, it's starting off in little sailboats, right?
Dinghies,
or dinghies and sailboats.
lasers.
You went right for the speed.
You went right to the hydroplane.
How did that happen? How did that come about? You
got a buddy that got the hydroplane, and then I think I got the outboard, and we put them together, and then the rest is history.
It's like chocolate and peanut butter.
And what age were you?
16.
16. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Learning to drive and learning to...
But it took
go
two
really
people
fast.
to go out in the boat because somebody had to sit in it.
Sit in the bow,
because if you
right?
put the motor on, it would just go right down.
Wow. But that must have been fun out on
It
the lake.
was wild, yeah.
And then over the years, I mean, that means that boating has been in your blood for a very long time. For a long time. I won't say very long time. What other type of boating experiences have you had?
Well, if you're familiar with the Deadliest Catch.
Yes, very much.
I did that for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I was engineer, alternate skipper, and deck boss on a 124-foot steel crab boat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's some serious
I was a lot
stuff.
younger then.
Yeah. Great. Great
Wait,
show, first of all.
He's only 32.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look what that life
That life does
to
something to you.
Yeah, it does. So,
I admire those guys a lot. And what a heck of a trip out there on the water.
and
Yeah.
Yep, came back with all your fingers, all your toes.
Good on you.
That is, good wood. That is why I got
Damn
out of meat cutting when I was in my teens. I wanted all my fingers as well. Well, good for you. And that is quite a history. And would you consider yourself a boat geek? I mean, you were naming all the parts, getting on the boat. I feel like you're very much a boat geek.
Well, and you're a professional skipper.
I got my captain's license. I was a project manager on a 115-foot super yacht back in the good old days in the 90s. And on the top 200, we were like number 187 or something.
Wow.
And so the magazines came out with the top 200 yachts in the world, and I was going around, we're 187, we're 187. And now that boat wouldn't even make it on the list. And so, but back then we thought we were pretty cool. So I got a captain's license, and I ran that boat from Alaska to Mexico.
I was going to ask where you got to go, and that's
That
quite a
was after
range.
the crabfish. So that was like,
Yeah,
that was like child's play after the Bering Sea.
easy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place to boat?
I really I remember I was telling Brandy the story about a travel guide that was, traveling all over the world and saying the best places to go and stuff. And he says, do you have any little secret spots? And he goes, yeah. He says, there's this island up in Canada, and you have to take a ferry to get there. And there's one general store, and everybody knows everybody, and it's just like, trees everywhere, and it's just the greatest place. Well, he was talking about Quadra Island.
Oh, yeah.
Which is where April Point is. And April Point and Campbell River was kind of our playground, in the yachts, go up there and go fishing. And Quadra Island, here this guy was explaining his secret spot.
Right.
We've been going there for 20 years.
Not a little island either.
No,
Then you going there for 20 years makes sense. It's a great spot.
it is.
I have yet to be there.
Yeah.
Brandy, what is your history and background with boating? Do you love boats?
I do love boats. I was living in Spokane, divorced, working in a department store, and my buddies from high school came into town, and they said, you should come see where we work. And I said, okay. And they worked in St. Thomas,
Oh, my gosh.
and they did
Wow.
the cattle boats, as they call them, taking cruise ship passengers on half-day snorkeling trips from St. Thomas to St. John.
Yeah.
So I went down there, and they were already working when I woke up. So I get up, I come upstairs, and we're in Trunk Bay. And it's just bright blue water. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'm a manual labor type person, and I want a nice view.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
And that's all it took. I mean, then there were some hurricanes, there were some health things happened. But I went to San Diego, got my captain's license, and I've been a delivery captain for 20 years.
Oh, wow. And what has the range of your deliveries taken you?
Well, I've gone from southern Chile to Costa Rica on a 63 Nordhaven,
Nice.
23 days.
We were just talking about Nordhavens this morning.
Yeah.
Love Nordhavens.
Yeah.
They're what the sailboaters get when they don't, because they go about that speed, but you're so much more comfortable.
Oh, yeah. Slightly, huh? So how do you go from, you see your friends doing these cattle boat tours to being a boat captain? Where was the light bulb that went off and said, I want to captain boats?
Well, it was right there about the manual labor and the nice view, but also I ended up going to college for a while, and I got a little disheartened with the recycling that I wanted to be doing. And I went and visited my friends in Florida, and they're living on a canal that the owner's paying for. They had just spent a month at Atlantis when it opened up, and I was like, maybe I want to go back to the decadence of yachting.
I don't blame you with that.
But my friends were having kids in California, and I don't really like the East Coast. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go do it all by myself in California.
Wow.
I love the West Coast. I'm much more a West Coaster. Even though they call it the worst coast on some
Some people do,
deliveries.
yes.
Yeah. It can be snotty out there, but
Yeah.
it's a nice challenge, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Every
I love
delivery
it.
must be completely different.
Completely different.
No two are ever alike.
No.
Out here on the Worst Coast.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. And then you learn all these tiny little places through bad weather and things like that. And those have become some of my favorite places to go back to.
Oh, good for you.
Tiny places like Quadra Island.
Yes. Secrets.
Oh, yeah. Different. Yeah. Not,
Like Eureka, California.
yeah.
It's a kooky little spot
is,
that I
isn't it?
love. And Coos Bay,
Yep.
Oregon.
Yep.
Love those spots.
Do you ever go into Depot Bay?
I have only been into Depot Bay one time.
But you went in on a boat.
Yes.
Wow.
It was not big.
No. The world's smallest natural harbor is not
yeah.
big.
No, it was just a fuel stop.
But I have seen so many videos of people going in and out of there, and it's
Oregon can
squeaky
get pretty
bum
crazy.
time, it looks like.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to make sure that the weather is
Yep.
happening.
Cool.
All
Or
right.
not happening,
Or not.
as the case may
Yeah,
be.
exactly.
Right.
Well, a couple of captains here. That's awesome. Definite boat geeks. So again, welcome. It's always nice to have fellow boat geeks in here.
This episode of The Boat Geeks is sponsored by The Boater's Guide, a free app for Pacific Northwest boaters. The Boater's Guide is adventure and information, right at your fingertips, right when you need it. Find your happy place with The Boater's Guide, a free download on your phone or tablet in the App Store and Google Play.
Now, this particular episode, and we can certainly talk about anything, but we are here specifically to talk about the annual Pacific Northwest Yacht Captains Association Gala, and auction benefiting the Forgotten Children's Fund. And this event is going on December 4th at the Ballard Elks Lodge in Seattle from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. $125 per person, totally worth it.
And it's every December.
It's every,
So-
first Wednesday in December.
Okay, first, yeah.
Can you just enlighten us a little bit on the Forgotten Children's Fund? Darren was telling me a little bit about how it got started, and I stopped him from explaining any more of that because I wanted to hear it from you guys. But, I think on a general level, I understand it, but can you delve a little deeper on
It was started in 1974 by Dick Francisco, and he was a pilot in World War II. And when he came back from the war, he was actually teaching flying at Sandpoint Naval Air Station on Lake Washington.
Oh, wow.
And they have a lot of great stories. Some of them I can't share here.
I'm sure.
But, enough beer in a bar, I could probably tell the story. But he had a restaurant down on Denny, and it was called Francisco's. And it was kind of like a Cheers moment. They had a cop and an FBI agent and a postman, and, they're sitting around, and the postman comes in and he goes, "Hey, I intercepted a letter to Santa." And they all said, "Let's open it." This was back in the 70s when you could get away with opening federal mail. And he says, there was a letter from Craig, and it said, "Dear Santa, Mom said you weren't coming again this year. You don't have to bring me anything, but bring something for my sister because she's been good. But don't bring anything for my dad because he doesn't live here anymore." And
he drew a map.
yeah.
Wow.
And now here's these guys, Marines, all these
Right,
guys
right,
that, jumping out of airplanes and flying airplanes, and they're all crying.
Yep.
And they say, "We got to find this guy."
Yeah.
And so that's how it all started. So fast forward to today, we have 400 volunteers. We deliver to 800 families and 3,000 children in King, Pierce, and Snohomish County. And it's all volunteer, and it's all donations.
And 65 sets of Santas and Elves go out on Christmas Eve.
That is,
I've got goosebumps.
so do I. I just went
Yeah.
right through my body.
Man.
There's nothing more heartbreaking than children without during the holidays. My family does its part in helping towards that cause. And I love this time of the year because of the time that I get to spend with my family and see, my nephew and my niece and my daughter, and just see the happiness and the cheer and the love through their eyes and so forth, but nothing brings that down. Nothing makes it as painful as knowing that there's people out there that aren't getting that same experience every year, year after year. And I had no idea that you guys existed.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it either until Andrea
Piriantozzi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Tozy, not Tozzy.
Yes.
Oh my.
Sure.
Gala Gal.
Sorry, Andrea.
Yeah,
I'll ask
yeah.
you tomorrow at the
Yeah.
ARBA annual meeting how
Yeah.
to pronounce that.
But you said 800 families and approximately 3,000 children. That is a huge impact.
yeah.
That is impacting so many people that
And
would.
these are people who have fallen through the cracks.
Yep.
They're not
That yeah.
getting welfare or anything like that. Say there was a divorce or a death or something like that, and or something tragic like there was one that was a police officer's family because he had passed.
in the
Officer
line of duty.
alone.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, he was on the Marine division
Oh.
of the Seattle Police Department, and he was tying up a boat in some weather, and he slipped and fell and hit his head, and so
Oh my gosh.
he was.
and you don't get to have it every year. It's once every 5 years at the most, and we hope that in that time frame that what we've given is a little bit of some confidence and a leg up, so you don't need it again.
Yeah. And the fact that you're doing it year after year and there's that many people that have slipped through the cracks is devastating. And
Yes.
so,
And the numbers probably just don't go down year after year. They keep increasing.
And it's amazing. A couple of things amazed me was that they're right in our neighborhoods.
yeah.
yeah.
You know, and we
Look
delivered.
left, look right. They're there. Yep.
And we delivered. I've been doing this since 2000, and so 24 years. And I remember delivering to Bellevue, you know, for the first time when the downturn in 08, when the music stopped.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, you know. And so they're right next door to you. And
Right in our own backyard.
Yes.
And for those of us that have a little extra or don't, you know, have these own experiences in our own life, the amount of change that can bring upon a person, both the giver and the receiver. There's nothing better to me than the feeling of giving, especially to somebody who needs it, wants it, appreciates it. And what that can do for these families and for these kids can make the whole year. And it's just such a little thing to donate to a cause like this. And it does makes such a big impact and makes such a big difference.
And it's all donation driven. And you have this huge every December, first Wednesday, every December, this gala event.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit
Tell us
more
about this event, yes.
about the event itself.
Well, it started out, I had just finished my tour on this 115 that I captained, and I did it for 3 years, but then I wanted to get back into brokerage, so I'm a yacht broker. Full disclosure, okay? You're dealing with a yacht broker. And I wear many hats. And so I had just opened Crow's Nest Yachts. Can I
Oh,
put a
yeah,
plug
sure.
in for it? Okay.
Absolutely.
So I just opened Crow's Nest.
How do people find you at Crow's Nest?
Lake Union. We're right underneath Danielle's Broiler.
Okay. And
That's
do you have
right.
a
Lake Union.
website?
crowsnestyachts.com.
There you go.
All right. So I had just come back from the boat bit, and I was doing deliveries and stuff too, and I got asked to join. It was kind of comical. I delivered a boat down to Newport Beach, and I said, where do I take the keys? You know, go drop it off at Crow's Nest. So I went in, and I said, here's this boat. And they said, where are you from? And I said, oh, I'm from Seattle. And they said, well, we're thinking of opening a store in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, if you're going to open a store in Seattle, you got to talk to Mr. Seattle. And they both came across the desk at me and went, who's that? And I go, me. So,
Duh.
so I opened the store, and then my buddy, Rick Gladich, and I think we sent you the kind of genesis of generosity. Did I send that thing? It was kind of a article about how this all started.
Yes. Yes. you
Okay,
did.
so Rick Gladich had just started working for Merle Wood down in Florida, And we heard about these captains getting together, and they were getting together at Rock Salt. And they'd go in there and tell sea stories and have a beer and appetizer. And then at the end, they would throw $20 on the table. So my buddy Rick goes, hey, Wood, let's pick up the money they drop on the table. We'll pay the tab, and then we'll give the money to charity. And I said, okay, I'm in, because we wanted to get our names out there. So when we asked the guys, they said, we want to give this to charity, Skip Sethman, who drove a big boat for Boeing, Daedalus. Boeing's got a sense of humor. Yeah. If you know your
funny.
Greek mythology. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I love it.
no pun intended. And he says, yeah, I got this great charity. And he was working with the Forgotten Children's Fund as a truck driver. And so when the families go out, you got to have a truck with all the presents and the bikes and everything in it. And then when they go into the home, they got Santa. And Darren, you'd make a good Santa.
Wouldn't
Why-
he?
why-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Brandy, hey, were you eyeball?
We're looking for some new Santas this year.
Yeah, we've always
We're a little low on Santas this year.
we're aging out, and so he was with them for some time, and so I always like to say I didn't jump, I was pushed, and that's how I got involved with them. And once I heard the story and got involved, I'm an elf. I can't help it. We all can't be Santa.
20 years an elf.
Yeah. And I'm not looking to move up. I'm just, we all can't be Santa
The
Claus.
world needs elves.
They do.
That's right.
And they're, we get stuff done.
That's right.
And apparently, Santa and the elves can't load the trucks. That's part of my job.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So every job is important, and all of it helps the whole process run smoothly.
But to be an elf, you have to come wrap presents.
Right.
And each child gets 3 presents: hat, coat, scarf, gloves, bicycle, helmet, and lock, if requested.
If appropriate, yeah.
Yeah, if appropriate. And so they earn their right to be an elf on Christmas Eve.
That is so awesome. Now, I read that you guys have a warehouse secured for this year.
Yes, because we don't have a brick and mortar. We keep everything in diesel trailers and just get a building loaned to us, because that way 93 cents of every dollar goes back into.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then there's an app, if I read correctly, for reserving a table if you're a volunteer for wrapping or something like that.
There
Am I
is.
getting ahead of myself?
No, there is. ForgottenChildren'sFund.org has the
All the info.
website, and that's how you can reserve your spot.
Okay. Now, this is
wrap.
a volunteer organization completely, right? So
Completely.
so our audience and people out there, it completely relies on their support, which could be just straight up donations, right? Cash donations, and then also volunteering.
And then for the auction, I'm always looking for good donations for our silent auction items.
Okay.
And the Captains Association is the largest contributor to Forgotten Children's Fund. So this auction is major.
So those
for them.
$20 bills that were being thrown down, it's grown somewhat.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's grown so much, actually, that the captains also have an aftercare initiative. So Santa and the head elf, when they go into the homes, if they don't have heat or lights or something major, there's nothing in the refrigerator, then they go back in January and February, and whether they pay bills for a few months or buy them a bed or whatever the situation is, try and help them a little more. So it's not just the one day.
You guys are awesome.
I can't believe that we've been here in boating in this Pacific Northwest, and
There's a lot of good
Never
people out
heard
there,
of this.
and
it just amazes me.
I think that's the whole point, is to raise awareness.
Yeah.
Organizations like yourselves and what you guys are doing are only going to improve the more people know about it and are contributing.
And we also have the Forgotten Children's Fund has teamed up with Les Schwab.
Oh, yeah.
So when people buy their tires and they give a gift there, we're one of the people that get those gifts from them,
That's amazing.
which has really raised our bar.
So you're looking for potentially businesses as well to donate things to be auctioned off, and that's all being auctioned off on the 4th?
Correct. And we have silent items, we have live items, we have like Kenmore flight to San Juan Islands. We have a STID chair, a captain's chair. We have headhunter pumps.
That sounds like a good
It's
opportunity.
very, very good boating items. And then we also have other things, Club Pilates, haircuts, restaurants, things like that. All kinds of different items.
This is December 4th, which is less than a month from where we're at today. Obviously, we're going to speed this podcast out.
Yeah, we're going to get this out ahead of the other 15 we have recorded.
You guys moved right up to the top of the list, obviously, because it's time sensitive. In terms of our listeners and people that are out there and thinking that they want to contribute, let's say this gets up within the next few days and there's 3 weeks or whatever to this event. What is going to be the most likely way or most beneficial way for them to contribute at that point? Is it just going to be straight up donations? Are you going to still be looking for items for the auction?
Yes.
Gift
and
wrappers
yes,
and elves. And
everything?
And even if someone wants to buy a ticket, it's $125 to come to the event where it's catered by the Metropolitan Grill. And it's at the Ballard Elks, so beautiful view as well.
It's going to be comfortable.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Prime rib.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And I've been to these types of events before. There's so much fun, and the energy and the spirit that is there. I'm very excited to be there myself. I'm so behind what you guys are doing. I love it. I love the follow-up. I didn't know about that either. It just sounds like a wonderful organization, and that you guys are all doing this for the right reason. And the fact that you've been doing it for so long is also, I think, just a great example for the rest of us. I know that me and my family have been looking for ways that we can get more involved in our community. We were implants from California. And so as we've been up here, we've been looking for more ways to get involved. There's nothing that feels as good as giving to the community and to those around here. And they're all around us, like you mentioned, that have needs and that aren't being met. And for those of us that our needs are met and we have extra, our cups overflow, this is a great place to send that overflow. So again, I'm going to say the website is forgottenchildrensfund.org. And I guess you can email this PNW Captain's Auction for FCF at hotmail.com for more information.
I really should have shortened that when I
We learned in hindsight, right?
It'll be
Too
a
late
link.
now.
Yeah.
It'll be a link.
It'll be a link. We'll have all this
yeah.
information in the show notes. And I can't implore you enough to get involved in something like this. The amount of difference that it makes in those little kids, their hearts and their lives, it could forever change a person. This kind of generosity, and such a touching way that it got started in 1974,
and then it's been a nonprofit, a 501c3 since 76.
Yeah. Wow. So just what an amazing legacy. Obviously got started for the right reasons, and obviously the right people got involved. Yep. And that includes all of you out there, any of you that have been involved in the past years that it's been going and that want to get involved now. We highly recommend it.
Brandy has.
And
you remembered.
I'm in charge of getting 30 box trucks donated to follow the Santas and Elves. And that's always a struggle. But now that everyone gets everything delivered, it's even more of a struggle. Oh, wow. So I used to get Penske and all the different truck rental places. So if any business wanted to work together with Santa to help us deliver these, that would be so amazing. We've had a few in the past, and I have a couple moving companies that are kind of move in with us and give us a couple. But we only need the trucks the 23rd, 24th, and we can have them back on the 25th.
Wow.
All right. Well, there is a very specific need if you're out there and you can help with that. You know who to contact. Brandy. And if we go to forgottenchildrensfund.org and we are contacting through the website, is that getting to you?
Yeah, there should be a link to the auction on there as well.
Okay. And again, this event, the gala and auction is on December 4th in Seattle at the Ballard Elks Lodge.
And if you're watching this in January, February, it'll be the following December on the first Wednesday. So every first Wednesday of December.
Absolutely.
this
On
happens.
December 26th, you can immediately get involved in the upcoming year, the next year. It just keeps happening over and over again. But that's awesome. It gives us an opportunity to help people every single year. So is there anything you would like to add that we've forgotten to ask about?
You know, the Pacific Northwest Yacht Captains Association is kind of the arm that started contributing to the Forgotten Children's Fund. And so we have a database of over 2,000 marine professionals.
Oh, wow.
And we started doing job postings in 2008 when the music stopped. Okay. And so guys were tying up their boats and laying their crew off. So we said, well, we got to do something. So we started what we call job postings. And we heard of a job come along. We would post that and help guys get back on their feet. And so as a group, the yacht captains have donated $1.65 million to charity over 20 years. So it sounds like a lot, but
It is a lot.
well, and you look at these other charities that, you know, they go out and do a big gala and then they'll raise $20 million in one night.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
If only, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and one other thing is when we do those job postings, when people donate to the auction, I use their logo. And so I have a logo sheet that goes with every job posting. So when you're doing your tax deductible donation, you're actually getting advertising as well.
there you go.
Win-win.
Another reason. Yeah, that is a tremendous amount, even if it's over decades. It wouldn't exist otherwise. You know, those people wouldn't have received the help or what they needed otherwise. And so it's always, things like this are always an uphill battle. And it takes soldiers like yourselves and hopefully like some of you out there to just keep fighting the battle every single year. And the people that benefit from it, they don't care that there's another, donation out there for some other organization that's bigger. They care about what's affecting their lives, and you are affecting many people's lives every year. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here and sharing this information, raising awareness with us, and then allowing us to go out there and let all of our viewers and listeners know about it. It's stuff like this in our community is super important, and supporting these things is super important. So we appreciate you being here.
And thank you for having
Thank
us
you.
here.
Of course.
And thank you, Andrea, for setting this up.
Absolutely.
Oh, and thank you, Andrea, for a million things.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
She's so
amazing.
awesome.
There's
Love
some
her.
amazing people in the industry up here, and it's some people may call it the worst coast, but forever it will be the best coast in my mind.
For certain.
Yeah, we love it out here. So Dan, Brandy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Thank you
everything
so
you're
much.
doing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We really appreciate it, and hope you enjoyed Port Ludlow.
Definitely.
All the information that we've talked about, everything will be in our show notes. So please go check it out. Go to the website at forgottenchildrensfund.org. Just read what they're about, read what they've done in the recent years. There's a lot of good information there. I know it moved me, and my family will be involved. I hope your families are involved as well.
Do what you can to help.
That's
Do
right.
what you can.
Absolutely. It makes a difference. That has been another episode of the Boat Geeks podcast. And until next time, whatever floats your boat.
We're the boat geeks. Whatever floats your boat. We're the boat geeks. It's the boat that floats that we love the most. Yes, we love the boats. We're the boat geeks. Whatever floats your boat. Walk on the water, float on the sea, crossing the oceans between you and me. The wind in our hair, the salt on the breeze, bringing us closer, life on the sea.